Carmel Valley is an unincorporated town in Monterey County. If you're interested in living in a bit more of a remote or rural location with mountain views and slightly warmer weather than other parts of Monterey County, this could be an idyllic setting for you. But it's not for everyone. In this video, I'm going to be going over the pros and cons of living in Carmel Valley, California. What's up everyone? Toby Fernie, local real estate agent here in Monterey County, California. If you're new to the channel, it is all things real estate and living here in the Monterey area. Likes and subscriptions to the channel are always greatly appreciated. If you're a buyer looking for your dream home in the area or a seller wondering the value of your home in today's market, be sure to give me a call, send me a text or an email, and let me know how I can help you reach your real estate goals. Carmel Valley is one of the most beautiful settings along the central coast of California, but it's going to be different than living in some of those other coastal towns that are in Monterey County. I'll be breaking down some of the best parts about living in the area, but then also some of the drawbacks. If you're potentially thinking about purchasing in Pebble Beach, Carmel-By-The-Sea, Monterey, Pacific Grove, or some of the other towns in Monterey County, take a look in the description below as I've posted some of the pros and cons of living in those areas too. If after watching this video you decide that Carmel Valley is an area that you're interested in living in, be sure to reach out, let me know how I can help. Carmel Valley is far more remote and rural than some of the other towns in Monterey County. Along with this comes peace and quiet that you won't find in places like Monterey, where there are millions of tourists who come to visit every year to see places like Cannery Row and the Monterey Bay Aquarium. There are basically two major ways to get in and out of Carmel Valley with Loralis Grade Road, which connects Carmel Valley to places like Salinas and Monterey, and Carmel Valley Road, which connects Carmel Valley to Big Sur and Carmel-By-The-Sea. With that being said, I don't think I've ever seen traffic coming in or out of Carmel Valley. Most of the people that are going into Carmel Valley are going to be either people who live there, or if you're going to visit friends, family, or go in for one of the events that happens in Carmel Valley. There's some good restaurants, wineries, bars, things to do in Carmel Valley, but there aren't typically going to be a lot of cars on the road because this is mostly a residential area, a lot of open space, and a part of Monterey County that hasn't really been built up yet. Monterey County is a temperate climate along the central coast. The weather doesn't typically go below 50 degrees or above 70 degrees. It's been pretty nice this summer when other parts of California like Los Angeles, San Diego, and Sacramento have been seeing temperatures in the hundreds. We've been getting some cooler weather with a lot of fog. It's been in the 60s and low 70s mostly. With that being said, there are certainly some days that I do wish it was a little bit warmer in Monterey County. Carmel Valley is typically going to be about 5 to 10 degrees warmer, and it's going to get more sunshine than other places like Carmel-By-The-Sea and Pacific Grove. This can result in some hot weather during the summer months, but there are plenty of times throughout the year where it's going to be warmer and sunnier in Carmel Valley, and I'll go in there for the afternoon just to get some additional sunshine and warmer weather. While this is going to come as a biased statement, Monterey County is one of the most picturesque settings in all of California. You have the beauty of places like Carmel-By-The-Sea or the epic landscapes of coastal ocean views in Big Sur. Carmel Valley provides just as much beauty as any location in Monterey County, but it's different. Rather than ocean views with an abundance of ocean wildlife, you will have mountain views, peace, and serenity. Properties have more land, and there is a fair amount of vineyards, wineries, and nurseries with a variety of plants. Personally, I'm more of an ocean person and find walking along the beach and the views there calming and peaceful, but I know just as many people who find the same with mountain views. If you're someone who enjoys doing things like birding or seeing wildlife, you're going to love that aspect of Carmel Valley. It's not unusual to have a herd of deer hanging out in your yard. At night you can go stargazing and you won't have views that are impacted like you might in some other parts of Monterey County. If you're someone who's looking to get away from city life or the hustle and bustle of being in a place that's busy and with a lot of traffic, then Carmel Valley might be a great option for you. Houses in Carmel Valley tend to be further spread apart. Many of the homes in the area have acreage, and you won't be looking into your neighbor's property like you might find in towns like Marina, Seaside, or Pacific Grove. Along with the properties being more remote, as I mentioned earlier, there aren't as many tourists or people who come into Carmel Valley, so the restaurants and things to do won't be as impacted with people as you might get in places, say, like Pacific Grove or Pebble Beach during the AT&T golf tournaments or during the car shows. Carmel schools are some of the top-rated public schools in the state of California. Carmel Valley is part of the Carmel School District. They have a strong curriculum, are well-funded, and qualified teachers. I'm a former teacher in Monterey Public Schools, and I know that many teachers want to work in Carmel schools. They are some of the highest compensated staff for a school district in the area. I've been over this as a pro when talking about living in places like Carmel-By-The-Sea, but if you're living in Carmel Valley, it will be far less expensive to rent or purchase a home than if you were to purchase in places like Carmel-By-The-Sea or Pebble Beach, where you're also getting those Carmel schools. Typically when I do these videos, I usually will do 5 pros and 5 cons of living in the area, but I thought that I would add this one as an additional pro to living in Carmel Valley. I do feel like there is a really nice sense of community when living there. There are plenty of people who live in Carmel Valley who grew up there and have lived in the area for their entire lives. It has a small town feel and people know one another. There can be some drawbacks of living in a small town where people know each other, but you're going to get more of a sense of community and have events and people coming together than you might get in places like Pebble Beach or Carmel-By-The-Sea, where more of the homes are going to be second homes where people are only living there for part of the year. Okay, let's get into the cons of living in Carmel Valley. It's remote and far out there. I know that I said that this was a pro of living in Carmel Valley, but it can also be a con depending on your perspective. You're not going to have the same access to amenities and shops that you will get in other towns of Monterey County. There is one market in Carmel Valley Village, but it's a bit of a drive from even Carmel Valley Village to the nearest supermarket. There's one Safeway supermarket that's on Carmel Valley Road that's kind of in between Carmel-By-The-Sea and Carmel Valley Village. I have a number of close friends who live in Carmel Valley, and they joke about coming into the big city when they come into Monterey to run errands and get things that they wouldn't be able to get in Carmel Valley. Plenty of people who live in Carmel Valley will have storage or have an additional refrigerator, and they'll come into places like Costco and stock up on food and other supplies that will be harder for them to get in Carmel Valley. Some parts of Carmel Valley, like Cashowa Road or Lambert Flats Road, are going to be well over an hour to get from your house into places like downtown Monterey. Monterey County is one of the most expensive counties in California. Carmel Valley is no exception to this rule. It will, however, be more affordable than places like Pebble Beach, Carmel-By-The-Sea, or Big Sur, but it's going to be more expensive than purchasing in places like Seaside, Delray Oaks, downtown Monterey, or Marina. Prices for real estate usually mirror that of Pacific Grove, but it hasn't always been the case. When I first started doing real estate here around 7 or 8 years ago, Carmel Valley was far more affordable than places like Pacific Grove. The first group of clients who I helped in California through the purchasing process ended up buying a house in Carmel Valley. They purchased a home in the 500,000s. Today, that home is going to be well worth double what they purchased back in 2016. As of July 2024, there are 40 single-family residences on the market with a median list price of $1,822,000. It's not new news that California has had its fair share of issues with wildfires. As recently as 2020, there were some pretty bad wildfires that swept through Carmel Valley, which required evacuation. When considering an area as a fire risk, especially when you're thinking about insurance purposes for insurance on a home, there are a number of factors that insurance companies consider when coming up with the fire risk. Some of those factors will include how much timber is there in the area, how remote is the area, how far is it from the nearest water source and fire station. Are the roads single access roads for going in and out? Carmel Valley is going to have low ratings on all of those factors. Carmel Valley and Big Sur are the two areas with the highest fire risk and are going to have the highest insurance costs when it comes to homeowners insurance. Insurance companies categorize houses under what is known as an ISO rating. Having a rating of 0 or 1 is ideal and will result in the lowest insurance costs. Most of Carmel Valley is going to have a rating over 10 on their ISO rating, which means that your insurance costs are going to be very high if you're able to get insurance on the property at all. What ends up happening for most homes in places like Big Sur or Carmel Valley, if you're looking to get homeowners insurance, you'll have to add what's called a CAL Fair Plan Rider, which will be basically a second additional insurance plan that is going to increase your costs from somebody who's living in places like Seaside or Marina, which are going to have a low fire rating. Beyond just the real estate and the insurance costs, you're also going to want to consider, are you comfortable living in an area that's a high fire risk? Along with Carmel Valley being remote, isolated, and unincorporated, this is going to impact other services such as the quality of the roads. As you get further into Carmel Valley, which you can drive for hours back into Carmel Valley, the houses and roads tend to get a bit more unkempt. I think that there are a lot of people who live further out in Carmel Valley who prefer that, but you'll want to keep that in mind. If you mix in a time period where there's a lot of rain, the roads can get pretty rough and dangerous. It's ideal for you to have either a pickup truck or something with all-wheel drive at a minimum. I couldn't really think of a fifth con for living in Carmel Valley, and as I mentioned earlier in the video, there are so many pros and positives about living in Carmel Valley. If after watching this video or checking out some of the other videos on my channel for the pros and cons, if you're interested in finding your dream home in the area, or if you're a seller wondering the value of your home in today's market, be sure to give me a call, send me a text or an email at toby.fernie@gmail.com. Like and subscribe, stay tuned for future content all about real estate and living here in Monterey, California.
Click the icon to subscribe to more content from living in Monterey, California.